Welcome to week 4. This next 2 weeks are going to be intense. This tends to be the material that people are most enthusiastic to work on. It has probably the most practical application to your real life. So we're going to spend some time delving in. Basically, I have up on the screen, as you can see, the handout, which breaks down the two parts of the resume process, the cover letter and the resume itself. This week, I'm going to be focusing my words on the resume structure, and then next week, I'll talk more about designing the cover letter. These two documents work together to create a sense of who you are. But they also have very individual considerations, so we will take them one at a time. Just as a note here, I have got kind of this rigid, your resume must include the following: heading, objective, headline, qualifications. You need to include this material, but how you do it and what you name it is up to you. You may find that your qualifications are simply kind of in with your work experience, right? Or with your education. It may not be a separate category. So please don't think that these are set in stone categories that you must have. You just want to make sure that you have some decent structure. But resumes have really, really changed in recent years, and there's not that rigidity that you might remember if you wrote one back in high school where there was only one right way to do it. You have a lot more flexibility now, and we're going to explore that. So this, of course, is available to you in Brightspace, and you can read it at your leisure. What I want to do first is think of is kind of this introductory PowerPoint that's going to give you some things to think about going forward. So basically, everything I'm going to be saying here is kind of pre-writing stuff. So when I say assemble your information, I am not in any way suggesting that all of this is going to end up in your final resume. What I am saying is that it's really useful to have a main list of all this stuff so that you can pull from it and specify each resume you submit for the purposes of its submission, i.e. grad school, a new job, a scholarship, etc., etc. So it's really good to have just kind of this general collection that's got all this stuff in it, because you know what, you think you're going to remember it all, but I assure you, you're not going to remember it all. So gather up all your academic qualifications, what your degree is going to be in. Have you made Dean's List? Were you a rising scholar? Are you in any clubs or organizations? Whatever it is. Were you a teacher's assistant? Anything at all. Just gather it all up. Then think about all of the knowledge and skills that you have, which may or may not come from academic or jobs. You may have hobbies. You may have grown up on a farm or grown up helping your parents with their business. What is it that you know, and what skills do you have? Are you licensed swim teacher, or maybe a lifeguard? Do you have CPR? Whatever it is. As I said, this might not all end up on the final product, but it's good to have it all there. When you're gathering up your work information, what I mean by movement in the field is simply, have you taken different jobs within a same company? Because what that does is it shows some devotion, it shows some growth and development, some promotion, so that can be useful as well. Interests, collect those up, brainstorm, ask your family and your friends. They might be able to help you with this as well. Same with achievements. We don't tend to, it's uncomfortable, right? We want to be modest, but this is not the time for modesty. So write down those achievements. Write down those memberships, all this stuff. Just get it all in one space where you can pull from it as needed. Reference information, what you want to do there is you want to make sure that you have updated references, and it's important that you ask people. You certainly don't want to get a reference from someone that would prefer not to give you one. So ask permission. And then make sure you have their contact information so that you can give it to potential employers or schools or whatever. So the next thing to do, once you have your whole history of self assembled, is think about what it is that you're using this resume for. And in this page, I'm focusing on jobs, but the same could be said for a college application, for example. So what exactly is being looked for? Look at what is said and also what's not said, okay? What is kind of in between the lines? Go online and look more in depth into the company or the institution. That's all going to help you figure out what you want to really bring out in your resume. So then when you have your all your stuff, all your information to work with, and you have your purpose and your audience, you've kind of done a little research and you've got that, that's when you kind of determine your headings and figure out how you want to organize this. And this so depends on what you're doing. If you're a new graduate with not a lot of work experience, your education's probably going to be listed first. If you have 20 years of work experience, your work experience might be listed first. As I said earlier, your qualifications and skills might be a separate category, or they might kind of just be part of those other categories. So just think about how you want to do that. And there's a lot of help out there available for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There are templates, which are wonderful. And there's also a lot of useful suggestions in your textbook. So make use of all of that. When you start thinking about how to present this, you want to make sure your language remains dynamic. What I see a lot in resumes is people are using the same old tired phrases. And the problem with tired phrases, they've become cliches, right? Yet they're overused and they no longer have meaning. They no longer really resonate. So you want to make sure that you find a unique, a creative way that's very specific to connect you, the applicant, with whatever the opportunity is that you're trying to do. So look at all these different words. These are really important. They have slight differences, right? So be accurate with them. Same here. These mean different things. Received feels very passive. Earned, right? That suggests you did something. Same with implemented, right? You implemented, you took charge and did something. Suggested is a little bit of a step back. Gained, improved. These are really important words, but make sure you're really thinking about them and make sure you're using them accurately. Accuracy. You want to promote your best self, but you definitely want to stay on this side of ethics. Do not lie. It's, there can be financial repercussions, legal repercussions. Just don't do it. Be very specific. The best advice I can give you is to show rather than tell. If you say I'm a good communicator, that really doesn't mean anything to me. If you can show me an instance where you really use communication effectively to maybe, reduce a conflict, solve a problem, that is going to stick with me. Don't plagiarize. Don't be repetitive. That's why I presented you with all those different lists of words so that you can avoid saying the same word over and over again. And this is the kicker. This is the thing that people hate the most. You've got to really take all that awesome stuff that you found and hone it to only the most important for your particular opportunity that you're applying for. i.e., you're going to have to cut parts of yourself. And I know nobody ever wants to do it. But it's an important part of the puzzle. I have a lot more to say about resumes, but I'm trying to keep these short so that you can watch them as you have time. So I'm going to make another video that's going to go more into some of the common concerns that students have, and I will tackle those. And then after you've watched all of the videos and read through the materials for the week, please, if you have specific questions for your own particular scenario, email those to me so we can work through and figure out how best to design your own personal resume. Okay, thanks. Thanks.